The invention of plastic in the 20th century was a triumphant point in history. Nearly a century after modern plastic was invented, the tragedy of using plastic in our daily lives is becoming even more apparent. Across the world, plastic is solving common problems, but in the process, creating new issues for the environment and those who live in it. Celluloid was one of the first plastics invented. John Wesley Hyatt invented it in the late 1800s. Prior to celluloid, he had two different forms he created. It was originally created as Parkstein in 1856, and then as Xylenite in 1869. Hyatt was motivated by a $10,000 reward for a substitute for ivory because a common problem in that time was people poaching elephants solely for their tusks. He first formed the Hyatt Billiard Ball Company, but later formed celluloid because his billiard balls of Parkstein and Xylenite were not as tough as ivory. Forming celluloid was a great accomplishment, and it was used in film paper, but there was just one problem with celluloid: it was flammable. But soon after, in 1907, Leo Baekeland, the inventor of photograph paper, solved that issue. He came out with Bakelite, and it was a hit. I was trying to make something really hard, but then I thought I should make something really soft instead that could be molded into different shapes. That was how I came up with the first plastic. I called it Bakelite, he said. He was experimenting with resins, following up on other scientists like Hyatt. He formulated Novolac, a phenol formaldehyde resin, but did not have the success he wanted. Phenolic resins are a type of polymer, repeating molecules made of carbon. Bakelite was soon marketed as a jewel, and bracelets were made of it, while necklaces were bejeweled with it. It was hardened and heated in a bakelizer before being formed. Though Bakelite was successful, soon even more triumphant scientists appeared from their labs and proposed more effective reusable plastics. That's when companies began using plastic bottles. They were originally used commercially, but in the early 1950s, a higher density plastic called polyethylene was proposed. It was more lightweight and cheaper than ever to use this plastic, and we started using it to package everything. Shampoos and soaps, juices and water, and even chemicals were soon packaged in plastic bottles. Tupperware was the new word in every house by 1948. By the end of the Second World War, women had organized their kitchens. They were full of Earl Tupper's containers. The easy, sealable Tupperware was used to store leftovers and still is. Children now use it to transport food in their lunches. But plastic wasn't only used to keep kitchens from disorganizational disaster. It actually saved lives. Disposable blood bags and syringes quickly populated every hospital's storage cabinets. Prosthetics were made of plastic to support the body, but so you didn't have to lug around a heavy leg. Artificial heart valves were made and kept those who needed them's blood moving. Implants for the deaf were put into use as well. And along with saving lives, plastic helped rope in the fun being used on game controllers and electronics. TVs, of course, providing your entertainment, have plastic as well. Phones too. All of them. Old home phones with twisty wires, new home phones, flip phones, smartphones, and don't forget all the toys. Toy trucks, Barbie dolls, cars, fake phones, all made of plastic. Fake football turf is plastic too, and the grass at the putt-putt golf course.
Plastic has kind of consumed us, everything. It's almost hard to go to the grocery store and buy something with.
Plastic has been polluting our planet for quite a while now. It might not be plain to see, but there's plastics everywhere. The problem is that plastic items can take around 1,000 years to decompose, but even then they are still there. These little tiny pieces of plastic we can't see are called microplastics. They're in so many things now, and it is terribly affecting our environment. In landfills, plastic may decompose quicker or slower depending on the conditions of the landfill. But microplastics are small, and they can sink through the earth into our groundwater. Most of us in the USA have filtered groundwater, but it's even in our water bottles. A study recently showed that many water bottles contain microplastics. They tested more than 250 water bottles from 11 brands, and 90% had microplastics. As you can imagine, microplastics are inside of our intestines as well as excretions. As of March 15, 2018, scientists don't believe that there are any implications on our health from ingesting plastic. But some believe it can cause inherited diseases, passed down from generation to generation, or even cancer. Microplastics even harm animals as small as plankton. Another big problem is marine pollution in general. Animals are constantly mistaking plastic for food, and it causes serious digestive issues for them.
Animals that get it the worst are probably turtles, mammals, and birds.
But these animals don't know that plastic isn't food, or that it's the thing killing them. We find that out when they wash ashore, dead with plastic in their intestines. Another threat to marine life is fishing net, because it can entrap animals and lead to severe issues. Often, fishing net is cut and left out in the ocean when it gets stuck. The worst part is that they can suffer for many years before they are put out of their misery. They don't even have to ingest it to be harmed by it, though. Peanut the turtle shells were squeezed over years and squished because of a plastic six-pack. Seals and other animals can get plastic stuck around their necks and choke themselves to death. Plastic might be the worst killer in the world. From plastic's invention in 1856 to suddenly depending on it for every aspect of our lives, the triumphant invention of the past led to a terribly tragic situation in the present.